The fourth day, without food, isn't just an empty stomach. It is your own body quietly turning on itself, consuming muscle, stealing heat, dimming the mind into a gray, trembling haze. Today, Tizu's absolute desperation will collide head-on with the sadistic pleasure of a man who feeds on the humiliation of others. Stay until the end of this video and find out whether the perfect chance for revenge will turn an honest man into the very monster society decided he already was. If you are crossing his path for the first time, Tizu had 23 years stolen by an unjust prison sentence, returned with nothing but the clothes on his back. In his first days of freedom, his last coins went to save a dying stray dog who now walks by his side, proving that the world's greatest injustice cannot corrupt a man resigned to his own honor. This is not the resignation of the weak, but a strength forged by every blow he has ever taken, making him indestructible. Yet the world remains relentless. He had what little he earned stolen, and his only belongings thrown in the trash. Now, the death of 4 days without food has arrived, and his body is failing in ways that frighten even him. The dog feels it too, but she does not leave his side. Before we step into what happens next, tell me in the comments, where in the world are you watching this from? Subscribe, and do not look away. A thin thread of clarity cuts through the hunger-induced fog. Tizu remembers the open-air market. At the end of the trading day, when the stalls fold and the vendors count their profit, things get left behind: the bruised, the overripe, the discarded. What hold? No commercial value might still hold life. This is the architecture of poverty. For 23 years, his meals were handed to him through bars, measured, tasteless, but guaranteed. Out here, freedom means the right to starve. He moves without hesitation, not quickly, because his legs no longer allow quick, but with purpose. The dog moves with him, close but free, her paws barely making a sound in the warm asphalt. A silent pact between two beings sharing the same fate. He arrives and he freezes. The scene before him is a gut punch dressed as an ordinary evening. Dozens of thin, dirty dogs pick through the scattered remnants near the drains. Trampled cabbage leaves, rinds, things even the rats have passed over. And then it hits him. Not like a thought, like a fist. To the world counting its money and folding its stalls around him, he is not a man. He is exactly what those dogs are. Another hungry stray, waiting for something to fall. The dog pauses at his side, glances up at him, those quiet, dark eyes asking nothing, demanding nothing, then drops her nose to the ground and picks up the trail of a discarded skewer nearby. Tizu watches her go. Just a few steps. He lets her search. He has to try. He spots it. The largest stall on the block. A cardboard box overflowing, with marked avocados, bruised apples, and bananas already turning black. Good food. Real food. Food that would have cost nothing to give away, and everything to throw out. Tizu approaches slowly, head slightly lowered, the posture of someone asking permission to exist. He points to the box. The owner, a robust man, thick through the shoulders, stops counting his money. Before Tizu can say a word, he begins gesturing wildly. It is immediate, theatrical, performed. He wants everyone to witness his exercise of power over the fragility of a hungry, penniless man. He picks up the heavy box, unhurried, deliberate, and looks Tizu directly in the eyes. Then, holding that gaze like a punishment, he appends the entire contents into the filthiest drainage bin on the street, pours foul, dark water over it from a bucket kept nearby, watches the fruit sink into the rot. Behind him, his employee, frozen by the grotesque scene, stands inert. Tizu looks at the fruit drowning in the filth. Even his hunger passes in that instant of profound pain. The scene is a declaration. I would rather watch this food dissolve in sewage than let it touch you. It is here that Tizu understands. A human being can be worse than the very refuse they produce. The employee wants to act. but freezes. His fear paralyzes him and he does nothing, choosing silence over courage. He turns and goes back to work. Tizú stares at him. The employee drops his eyes and cannot hold his gaze. The dog, a few steps away, goes still. He raises her head toward Tizú. Her eyes find his, and in them, shame. He lowers his head. He says nothing, he does nothing. This moment passes clean through him, straight into somewhere older and deeper. This is the confirmation that cannot be undone. Humanity will choose waste over the dignity of a man it has decided does not deserve to be seen. For the first time, Tizú wants to stop. Not rest, not sit, stop. He looks at the employee, the boy who felt everything and did nothing. And something inside him goes quiet, in a way that is more frightening than anger. He turns his back. He takes one step toward the dark. This is his resignation. Not a surrender to the world's cruelty, but a resilience so firm that nothing can shake it. He cannot give up. He knows it. He cannot. He simply looks forward and takes the next step. And at the very peak of this knowledge, fate decides to raise the stakes one final time. It's going to test whether a completely devastated man can resist the most dangerous weapon of all. What does a man who has just been publicly humiliated, emptied of everything, standing at the edge of total collapse, do when the chance for perfect, justified revenge literally falls at his feet? Walk back is the longest of his life, not in distance, in weight. The dog walks beside him and then he sees it. A leather wallet, thick with folded notes. He stops. The street is empty. The light is failing. No one is watching. And the voice that rises in him is not even his own. It belongs to every year of injustice, every humiliation, every meal refused, every door closed. They have treated you like refuse. Why not collect what refuse is owed? He looks at the wallet. It is more cash than he has held in over 2 decades. Survival whispers that he is owed this. Society robbed him of 23 years of wages, of youth, of life. But Tizú knows the trap. The moment he takes what is not freely given, he accepts their definition of him. He becomes the thief they condemned 23 years ago. But Tizú's integrity is not a policy he follows. It is the only thing they never managed to take. He crouches, opens the wallet not to take, but to find. There's a document inside. He holds it under the pale light of the street lamp. The face looking back at him is the young employee. The boy who watched, who felt shame, who did nothing. Poetic, devastating, perfect. The money he was denied in the form of fruit is now lying in Tizú's hands. The temptation now is not just survival, it is justice. The balance, at last, tilted in his favor, and no one would ever know. Tizú retraces his steps through the dark. The dog stays at his side, as if she already knows where they're going and why. He finds the young employee at the edge of the dismantled market, pale and frantic, searching with the terror of a man whose entire month is gone. Tizú says nothing. He simply extends his hand calloused and places the wallet into the young man's grip. The employee stares at it, then at Tizú. The shame that crosses his face is not the polite, momentary kind. It is the kind that stays, the kind that changes a person. His eyes fill. He cannot speak. Without a single word, he runs to a corner, where part of the dismantled stall still stands, and returns with a white plastic bag that is his own dinner. A hearty meal he had set aside for the end of his shift. He places the bag in Tizú's hands, closing both his hands over Tizú's in a gesture of profound respect. As he watches Tizú turn to leave, the employee moves fast. He glances to both sides, making sure his boss cannot see. Pulls a few notes from the wallet and presses them into Tizú's hand, closing Tizú's fingers tightly over the paper. A silent pact from someone who has finally found the courage to act. Tizú takes the bag and feels the weight of the notes in his palm. He gives a slow, single nod and walks away into the darkness. When they reach the tree, under the faint light of the moon, he opens the bag. The smell of warm food fills the cold air. He divides the meal in two. The first bite is a silent miracle. And now I have to ask you the only question that truly matters tonight. Would you have had his strength? Standing at the edge of collapse, body failing, hunger gnawing, humiliated, discarded with perfect justification in your hands. Would you have given it back? Or would the revenge have felt too right, too earned, too just to let go? Leave your answer in the comments. I read every single one. The cards on your screen will take you directly to episode 3 or the full playlist from the beginning. Do not let Tizu walk the next stretch alone. Subscribe, because what fate has in store for them will demand a strength he never knew he possessed. See you in the next video.